this is Randomness with 5 Cups of Sugar, and today we're going to be doing a review of Goodbye My Rose Garden Volume 1. So I bought this first volume just to give it a try to see if I like this Yuri manga. So here is the synopsis. So basically, Hanako, as we can see here, is from Japan. She comes to London to become a novelist based on her love of reading and books, and she wants to meet this person named Victor Franks. I don't know about you, but to me it seemed pretty dang obvious who Victor Franks was from the get-go. She's quite adamant about also meeting Victor Franks. And maybe at least if she cannot meet Victor Franks, to get the people at the publishing house to give her manuscript to Mr. Franks. During that time, Lady Alice, seen here, who's also on the cover, sees Hanako have this really dedicated speech, and she's consistently there every day, and this is what this guy here, who's the editor, tells her, that she's been coming every day to make her case to either like meet Victor Franks or at least give her manuscript to him. So she came all the way from Japan to London. She gets denied consistently, and so she ends up outside the publishing house and is sobbing how, like, there's no point that I came to England if I can't even meet Victor Franks. And that is how she meets Alice. She introduces herself here, takes her in, basically to give her a place to live, and she becomes Lady Alice's maid, as you can see on the cover. The artwork is very beautiful, as you can see here. And I would give this manga 10 out of 10. I loved it. It was one of the best Yuri mangas I have read so far. Why? Because it takes a different premise, right? So it's the late 1800s to early 1900s, because flashbacks from Hanako's past are like the late 1800s. But the story takes place in the early 1900s, and I do like how it has a different premise than the usual Yuri mangas out there. So they're not in high school. You have grown ladies here in a different setting, which I like. It definitely feels fresher. I do also like the artwork and how the cover, the inside of the cover is very beautiful. It actually is the cover of the book that Hanako is talking about originally when she's talking about Victor Franks. And it's a pretty cover, and it actually continues on the back, inside of the back cover. Yeah, and that would be the back of that book. Because I didn't understand when I first opened the book, why am I reading Gloriana by Victor Franks? But then it makes sense once you read the book. Also, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but this sticks out. The Goodbye My Rose Garden actually is kind of like the words come out of the actual cover of the book, which I think is a nice touch. And is this book quality for the cover is nice, and I could probably keep just like tracing the letters, which is awesome. Even the table of contents is pretty too. I will show you here. Yeah, you can see the roses, very beautiful. Look how detailed it is. Like, look at the corners there. It has little patterns everywhere. Oops, out of focus. There we go. Yeah. And the chapter titles are also really nice. The beginning of Farewell, the sun, the thorns, and the accomplices, the black spot that devours me, nameless beast, nameless bud, dark clouds above, the sound of distant rain. And the chapter titles make sense once you read the chapter, but like it sounds so poetic. Which I do enjoy a lot. Also, Hanako is adorable. Look at that. She's shining with glee. Look at that. Shiny, shiny. And also, the beginning, Lady Alice is quite teasing and kind of flirtatious with her and kind of shaking things off as a joke, but I don't think it's a joke. Bit of a side note, but look, Hanako, when she freaks out, kind of reminds me of Toru in Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, especially the mouth. And look how cute she is when she freaks out. I mean, look at this artwork. Look how detailed and beautiful it is. And also, did I mention, like, Hanako's eyes? Look at her eyes in this artwork here. And look at Lady Alice's eyes, too. They compare them to, I think it was heliolite. Helio means sun for Hanako's eyes, and sapphire for Lady Alice's eyes. So there's a lot of symbolism here, which I do enjoy. Hanako is just so pure and earnest, and I can see why they compare her to light later on, and why her eyes are like heliolite, because they're like the sun. Also get bits and pieces from her past when she's dreaming with Ms. Eliza, or Lady Eliza, who was teaching her, who also happens to be Lady Alice's governess, who went back to Japan. And here we see like the comparison again to Hanako and the Light, because she was having a conversation talking about how when you teach, you try to teach students how to gather their own light rather than fix their problems, help them find happiness through different ways, or find light or positivity from something else. Light could be interpreted as many things, though. Could be love, could be happiness, could be pretty much anything. But she remembers the words, but you seek to become the light itself, don't you? And that is almost a foreshadow, because you can kind of probably already guess from the synopsis that she probably is going to become the light itself for Lady Alice. Because in the first few pages, she already remembers that Lady Alice has said, when she found her outside the publishing house, I believe I found a ray of light. Lady Alice fixates on rays of light and sun in Hanako. Because right here, back in the beginning of the book, she said, there are times when the sun is eclipsed by cloud, but nothing can ever stop its shine. I see those precious rays in you. I want to read your stories, the ones that illuminate the page as the sun illuminates the sky. So that's kind of alluding to how Alice's life clearly is in a time of clouds, because she's asking Hanako to kill her, right? Because that was in the synopsis of the book that I showed at the beginning. That is the premise of the book. Lady Alice wants Hanako to kill her because of how society views homosexuality and women, for sexism and prejudice, and their view on sodomy and like not having affairs and stuff. So she is saying that basically she is in a time of sadness, but that doesn't mean there is no sun. She sees rays of sun coming from Hanako so that she can possibly see maybe a future with her, or that she could make her happy. And then that's why she says, I want to read your stories, the ones that illuminate the page as the sun illuminates the sky. So she's encouraging her, to write. This really affects Hanako. These words really affect Hanako because she says, "This is the first time in my life that I've found the hope I sought so desperately in books. You poor girl, you have your hopes trampled so. Her hand was the instrument of my salvation. Something told me not to let go, no matter what." So I think this is the moment that Hanako falls in love with Lady Alice. Just as Lady Alice sees Hanako as a ray of light, Hanako also sees Lady Alice as the one who led her to salvation with her hands. Hanako fixates on Alice's hands more than once, so I think that's another symbol. So when Lady Alice is contemplating as to whether to wear accessories made of sapphire or heliolite, Hanako says the sapphire is best because it matches Alice's eyes. And then, funnily enough, Lady Alice was like, "Are you attempting to seduce me?" And like Hanako's like, "What?" And then she's like saying it's a joke.
I really don't think she was joking, though. I think she's just saying she's joking to get away with that comment.
And what's quite interesting is that sapphire actually represents protection from harm or greed, much like Alice is trying to protect her family from feeling shame from rumors that she likes women and was previously involved with her governess, Lady Eliza. So she is trying to sacrifice herself. Roses are commonly seen as representing love or passion, depending on the color of the rose, but these are more like reddish roses, so that would be love, reciprocated love. Alice is putting a rose on top of Hanako's ear. Red roses means reciprocated love, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but at least I know from in Hawaii, on the right, if you put a rose on the right, it means you're single. If you have a rose on the left, it means you're married. Don't know if this extends to this or I'm reading too much into it, but you do see that Lady Alice is putting a rose on Hanako's left ear, so maybe a foreshadow, I don't know. Or maybe it's just that she loves her dearly, or maybe it's just she's right-handed and I'm thinking too much. And I guess Lady Alice is also really symbolized by roses too, because talking about like the black spots infecting the roses, as well as like the cocoon that holds her is impenetrable, overrun with thorns, so she has her guard up, she shows a facade to the world, she's prickly, she's trying not to let people close to her. Alice is trying to sacrifice herself for the sake of her family's reputation by pruning herself, like black spots that infect roses so that it doesn't spread to the rest of the family of roses. But Hanako sees the beauty of the rose that lies beyond the thorns and embraces her no matter what, even if there are black spots there. And Hanako tries to understand, why would Lady Alice tell me to kill her?
And throughout this entire process,
they both fall in love with each other. Even though, like, it's a background of tragedy. And if it wasn't enough to foreshadow things or make things even darker, she is reading Romeo and Juliet. This is what Hanako is reading. Like, a tragedy.
Hanako tries so hard to save Lady Alice.
Because she realizes she doesn't have to take things passively. She can make her story not a tragedy. Because she's the final light of hope to save Lady Alice from the darkness, as you can see on this page. And isn't this so cute? They're reading together. Also, she has a fiance and you come to hate him. Grr. Just let them be happy. But yeah, so I would totally recommend reading Goodbye My Rose Garden, Volume 1. It is very cute. Plus, they share an umbrella here, which, as you know, in Japan, means you're lovers, essentially, where you want to be significant others with the person you share an umbrella with. This is such a powerful scene right here. And Lady Alice, that was like her realizing, oh my god. And like a ping where she's falling in love with her bit by bit, deeper and deeper. It's a really cute story. Like, Hanako brings out the real Alice, even if she knows Alice is hiding things, like hiding behind a facade because she's really sad and is stuck within the social constrictions of society as a woman, and also as a person whose sexuality is not heterosexual. In a time where people were very oppressed by what society expected of them, especially as a person of nobility. So please pick up this volume if you think you want to read it based on my review, and I hope you enjoy it. Just like I did, I wasn't sure what to expect going into this, other than that the premise was quite unusual. Having Lady Alice ask Hanako to kill her, and like having Lady Alice being engaged to someone else, but then having like a romance with Hanako. But it actually turned out pretty well. I don't really care about like the historical details so much because I do not know much about this time period in London, so maybe they got things right, maybe they got it wrong, but since I don't know, I found it rather enjoyable. And it was very cute. It's a bit heavier than other Yuris. I do like how it's not in high school. The artwork is beautiful, as I said earlier. The book definitely leaves you wanting more of their story.
If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. Bye. Take care.